very warm welcome once again class 8 to another lesson of the monkey's paw. So today we are going to discuss about the remaining theme that we had already discussed earlier, the remaining theme of the story, the monkey's paw, which is industrialization. So in this video today, as you saw already in the objectives, that you are going to learn about the theme, the remaining theme that I will be explaining, the fourth theme, and we are going to also discuss the characters today. So here we go. So this theme of industrialization is very well presented in the story The Monkey's Paw. Now to begin with, we have to look at the background of Jacob's story. To when was the time that Jacob had written the story The Monkey's Paw? What were the surroundings? What was going around? Now it also takes into consideration what the author has seen in his own life. So Britain, it was during the mid-19th and early 20th century. If we take Jacob's time, if it was during Jacob's time, it was during 1863 to 1943. These are Jacob's dates. Alright, Jacob's, the years that he thrived, the years that he survived. And so during this time, Britain was going through the surge of the Second Industrial Revolution, and where changes were occurring, and Jacob had seen a lot of these changes, a lot of the important the transformations that were occurring, the machines, the revival of the machines that had come about. And he had seen treacherous working conditions of the workers, the exploitation, the harsh working conditions, like many other stories that present revolution, the industrial revolution, the first and the second, many other stories that represent that the authors have already written about. Now Jacob also wanted to portray the same thing that he saw, that he grew up with. So Herbert's death in this story, due to the fact that he was caught up in a machine and the indifference of the company, it definitely portrays the Second Industrial Revolution, things that, when the events that occurred during this time, it is presented through these two events in the story. What we see is unchecked industrialization. What happens with Herbert is unchecked industrialization. The company doesn't want to take responsibility. The stranger who comes to give the news to the whites also does not want to claim any sort of responsibility regarding Herbert's death. We don't know how did he get caught up, what happened. We don't know if there was something, some other force working behind his death. We don't know about it, and the company also doesn't want to give any such explanations regarding his death. They just give the compensation to the family members, to the person who has just died, and definitely this talks about the horrible working conditions. Now this was a daily case, a regular case, and that's why they didn't want to give such explanations to that. And this is being portrayed, and not only that, through this Jacob brings out the horror in the story The Monkey's Paw. Horror that is not only supernatural, that not only has a sort of magic maybe entwined with it, involved with it, but something that is horror in reality. So this was it. Now the contrast that is shown between these events, that the idea behind these two events, the supernaturalism and the real working conditions, like the contrast in the ambiguous monkey's paw, ambiguous because you think whether is it really natural or is it supernatural, is it really working or not working, and the results of the industrialization, the consequences of it, the harsh consequences, the horrible consequences, horrific in fact, because a family loses out on a member. That is something. Not everybody has a monkey's paw, right? So it's just the whites who have it. They have wished for it. But what about the other deaths that occur? Do that also happen supernaturally? We do question this, right? So the results of the industrialization, this is the source of it, the deaths, the source of it, the daily deaths, the regular deaths that occur during those times. We question it, we question them. Is it magic or is it misfortune? Is it an unfortunate event that goes away? So here we see that the lines are blurred between reality and supernatural and the supernatural world. The reality and the impending work of fate, the fate that holds power on people, that the fate that decides their destiny. Now both are very well defined in this story, the work of fate and the supernaturalism as well. Now we shall move on to discussing the characters characters not so much in detail, though we'll do that. We'll discuss them in our English class, in the online class. So we'll move on to discussing the characters. So this is the last discussion that we'll be doing based on the story Monkey's Paw. We've discussed all the themes and this is the character analysis. Now I have taken the three most important characters. There are actually five if we consider it. Like two other minor characters would be Sergeant Major Morris and the stranger or the company that represents the outside world. And the three major characters are here, which is Mr. White, Mrs. White and Herbert. We'll discuss them one by one. Now Mr. White is an old man who always tries to alter his own fate. So only for the reason is that he cannot accept his own fate. He has a domestic life, he has a happy life, he has a contented life, but then he doesn't try to accept it at all. He is not happy with it. And he is contented, he has a good life, he has good food to eat and a place to rest, a nice one and a better one, but then also he desires to escape or desires to travel like Sergeant Morris. He wants to go out to India to have experiences and always tread on with the unknown. He is very, very, very reckless. He cannot accept his own fate. Once again, let me tell you, even for the trivial issues. For example, like the game of chess that Herbert and he was playing, he tried to alter it by distracting Herbert the other way, but then also Herbert being an intelligent boy, he knew his father very well, so that is why he lost the game of chess and this makes him, he's got this relationship with reality which is always very doubtful. He doesn't want to take it as it is. He always tries to change or transform his course or his path. So that is the reason why he wants to do this, he wants to change this. That is the reason why he's drawn towards the magic in the paw, the monkey's paw. He's influenced to do something different in his life, and that is what he does. He disrupts his family life, he disrupts the lives of his other family members. And he is drawn to the monkey's paw because he believes in the supernatural, he believes in the magic, and he makes way for the supernatural to enter into their natural lives, the outside to enter into their own lives, their cozy, comforting lives. That is the reason why he suffers throughout. That is like a result of him wishing, the dangers of wishing, the dangerous causes, the dangerous results of wishing. So, and therefore he learns through the hard way. He loses his only son. Herbert dies and he doesn't have any other option. He doesn't have anything left in his life, and that is why he learns through the hard way that fate is something that shouldn't be altered or cannot be changed. It should be accepted as it is. And he's also someone who always sees a lot of illusions. He sees the monkey's paw moving in his hands like a snake. He hears the banging of the door. And Mr. White is presented as somebody who is always a reckless man. He makes reckless moves, even in chess. A reckless man who would do anything just for the thrill of it or just for the sake of adventure. He wants to do this. He doesn't want to, he's somebody who did not find his inner peace all the while he's been living, and he always tries to disrupt it. And this is the reason why he is presented as somebody with a very, very, very disturbed mind, even at the end. Somebody with a distorted mind, somebody with a disturbed mind would always try to take something, always try to go ahead and risk his life and maybe invite dangers, maybe invite the sinister into his own life. And Mr. White is somebody like that. Now we come to discussing about Mrs. White. Now Mrs. White at the initial stages in the chapter is presented as a woman who is leading a very happy domestic life. She's knitting by the fire. There she's getting into involving herself into some amusements with her own son, like pursuing him, and they sharing a joke about the father. They are chiding their father, and she's also rebuking Mr. White for a few of his traits. Her family life is disrupted. Her cozy life, her comfort life is disrupted. How? Because of the arrival of the poor, and also because of her husband who wishes on the poor. And that makes her very anxious from the next day itself. That cozy life, that prosaic life that she had is gone away, and she's nervous from the very first go after the morning after the wish has been made, and she's anxious also. She loses her sense completely once she hears the news of Herbert's death. And not only that, before the news was given to her, we can already sense a nervousness at play. And she becomes unresponsive, passive. She argues with her husband. She becomes very frustrated. At the middle of the night, she wakes up and she cries, and she's completely emotionally broken, emotionally separated from her husband. There is no relationship between Mr. and Mrs. White after the death of their son, and somehow she blames Mr. White for it. And one thing which is a common trait in both Mr. White and Mrs. White is that both are tired and weary. In spite of not doing anything, they are emotionally tired because they have lost their only son Herbert to something very treacherous. Now she also tries to alter fate. However, she feels very different from her husband regarding whatever is wished for. She tries to alter fate by bringing Herbert back. Once again, Herbert has gone away from them, and she tries to bring him back. But disappointment and misery does not leave her life. She is disappointed all the more because Herbert does not come in flesh and blood and alive. He comes as a mangled corpse to her. And she is also somebody who fails to accept loss. Mr. White fails to accept fate. Mrs. White fails to accept the loss. In a way, they both fail to accept fate. Now we shall discuss about Herbert, the son of Mr. and Mrs. White, on whom a tragedy has befallen. He is the victim of all the horrific incidents that occur in Monkey's Paw. Now Herbert, in the very first instance, we see him as a happy son, he's a loving son, and the only son of Mr. and Mrs. White. He's the world of his parents. He's like the apple of their eye. And not only that, Mr. and Mrs. White, they know nothing apart from loving Herbert. And he is also represented as somebody who is enjoying his domestic life, teasing his father, playing chess, then also sharing an amusement with his mother. But he is skeptical. He doesn't believe in superstitions. He doesn't believe in the supernatural, and also he rejects the ideas of Mr. Morris. He questions his credibility, and also he rejects the ideas, rejects the fact that his father is influenced by the poor. He becomes angry, and he is sarcastic to the point. And it's to the point of being sarcastic, where he questions as to why did his father pay Mr. Morris for the blessed paw, which did not hold any importance. But we ask ourselves this question: if Herbert's skepticism is just a mask of the horrors that are inside him, of the fears that are inside him, the fear of the outside world, the fear of the supernatural, is that the reason why he doesn't believe in the supernatural? Because he fears it? This is the question that we ask. Nevertheless, of what was in Herbert's heart, our heart goes out to him. We feel pity for him, because he becomes the collateral of his father's dangerous wishing, the dangers of wishing, the warning that his father rejected, he couldn't avoid, the warning that his father had just dismissed. Sergeant Morris's warning was dismissed, and he ended up wishing for the money, and it came to him, and it appeared to Mr. White as a consequence of Herbert's death, the compensation for Herbert's death. So he becomes a collateral damage, and also a victim of industrialization, of faulty working conditions, of dangerous working conditions, and the indifference of the factory employers. And the employee who has come to give Mrs. White the news, he doesn't want to take responsibility. The company doesn't want to claim responsibility. It seems that Herbert has been forgotten somewhere because of his death. But then his parents desperately try to bring him back, because he was their world, right? And he just becomes... he dies, but then his mangled corpse comes back, because his mother also cannot accept the loss of her dear son. So this contrast that was presented, that I talked about in the previous theme when I discussed it, industrialization, the contrast between supernatural and the natural world, this presents us with two perspectives regarding Herbert's death. Now, when we read about Herbert's death, we can judge it, or we can understand it in two perspectives. Alright, the first perspective, Herbert's death is a punishment for wishing, or for changing, for trying to change or alter the fate of Mr. White himself and of his family, because they are associated with him. And it can be also seen as a casualty of the exploitation of the workers, as a casualty of industrialization, of using of these machines, because he gets caught up in the machinery. Somehow he's not able to come to terms with industrialization, of how to go along with the work that he's supposed to do in his workplace. We don't know what happened in when the tragedy occurred. We really don't know. Was he seeing something? Was it the actions of the previous night, or some supernaturalism had already caused it? But we know that it happened outside the house. His fear of the outside engulfed him in entirety. So this was Herbert, Mrs. White, and Mr. White for you. Now, there are the minor characters would be discussed in the online classes as well. So I hope you watched the entire video and also enjoyed watching it. So it is very important for you to do so, children. I hope you go by these instructions. Thank you.